Oscars.
And we got
Western Mutant IPAs. Hey, Oscar Blues Brewery, not a sponsor, but they are here tonight.
Good little logo on that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll turn that around.
This one's a good, like,
let you guys see it.
This is like a 70s style beer.
All right. Welcome back to Basement Movie Room on Twitch and on the podcast if you're listening to the podcast. Here we are with episode 3 of House of the Dragon, which has just ended. I don't even know if we've got a title for this episode yet, because the first 2 episodes had titles. This episode maybe had a title, but they don't put the title out to the next day. And Ashley chose not to participate this week. Yeah. Thanks for watching Neo Solid 22, aka my wife, using my other Twitch account.
There's room for somebody else to join
for you.
Yeah.
So here we are. It's back to just the 2 of us. It'll be probably a less long podcast today. No offense to Ashley, she did talk a lot. And that was fine. She did a great job.
I have 45 minutes worth of talking.
Yeah. And we got a movie to watch still tonight. Yeah. So we probably need to get this thing going. I mean, I won't be home till 3 a.m. at this point. That's the way it's going.
Yeah.
So
Ubers episode do not run out here. So we have
Carolyn, you're gonna have to come get me
later. Yeah.
So here we are with episode 3 of House of the Dragon. So the episode opens up back with the crab feeder, and we get Daemon Targaryen on his dragon, Caraxes, and Caraxes is making a nice fiery path through. I mean, you don't get that right out of the gate, I guess. You get them doing their hammer the guys to the wooden piece, and they keep feeding them to the crabs. So what we're looking at here is this guy's being nailed to one of those little driftwood crosses like the crab feeder likes to use, and he says, my prince is going to come get me, and here comes Daemon Targaryen on Caraxes and burning through the crab feeder's army, basically, and doing a lot of damage. The crab feeder retreats off into a cave, which is kind of apparently their MO. You kind of get that idea that they kind of come out, attack, and then they go back into the caves and hide. And Daemon attacks a bunch of the men, kills the guy the dragon lands on the guy that was saying, oh, rescue me, prince.
Yeah.
All this stuff. So Daemon lands and is burning up the troops, and then they get a lot of archers, they were ready for him, a lot of archers to shoot at him, Daemon. So they do ultimately retreat. Caraxes retreats with Daemon, and that's the end of the first scene of the show. Nice little start with action in the first scene. So what did you think about that scene?
Didn't really think too much about that scene. I mean, it was okay.
You didn't even remember that scene happened.
Yeah, it's great. It happened, and we jumped into, back to King's Landing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it happened. It wasn't very significant.
Right.
It just happened. So, yeah, it was kind of nonchalant.
Yeah, it's a nice. It's a nice scene. It demonstrates the money they're putting into the show. Although it was smoky.
You did see a little dragon in the distance.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, there's something going on here, but they didn't spend too much time on that in the beginning. And they went on to King's Landing to the meat and potatoes that we like.
The political intrigue comes mostly in this. That's what we get most of this episode. But you did notice it was smoky in that scene again, because they're protecting the CGI, make it look a little bit better by doing 100%. The smokiness. Although when the dragon lands and they're getting arrow shot at, it's all pretty clear then. So it's very good. They're putting the money into it. We always got those things on Game of Thrones. Do you have any idea how much it costs to animate a dire wolf? And it's what did it really, or were you just too lazy to put it in there, D&D?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so that scene is a nice start to the episode, kind of lets us know where Daemon is. We don't get the time of when this is going on.
It is nice to blur the lines.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't get the time of when this is going on. So next scene, we're given a timeline for this episode. And the next scene is
Sort of, yeah.
Viserys and Alicent essentially celebrating that the hunt is starting, and it's the hunt for the second name day of their son, Aegon. They've had a son.
Aegon the first.
Aegon the second.
Second, sorry.
Because Aegon was the conqueror.
The conqueror was the first.
Aegon was the
he was
conqueror.
the second. Yeah.
So we're in a little gathering of a lot of the high lords there. They're all there getting ready to go out for the hunt. And they're all, of course, kissing some serious king ass. Oh, he looks just like you, King. Yeah. He's got your mouth and your hair, and then Viserys is like, oh, I guess he's got my eyes.
He's
too.
like, God dang it, what the?
Yeah, Viserys not looking great, a little worse for the wear, looking kind of rough, to be honest. His
hairline kind of
gone
back
an inch or two, which is known to have been happening to men who are aging.
20 when you got to wear a hat.
Yeah, well, he's wearing a cap. So I haven't started that yet, although it's thinner.
It's okay.
The peak. So we get that scene, and he's concerned. Otto is talking to the other guy on the small council, whose name I still don't remember, but
he's. I think he's a Baratheon.
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah,
the younger guy with the So.
And that other guy on the council is kind of like, that could be the heir. You need to get that going, that kind of stuff, which is a theme in this episode.
There's a different demeanor with Otto right now. He's just like so much upbeat right now.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, my plan is working.
Yeah.
You can just tell in his. I mean, it's not very like, oh yes, I've won, that kind of thing. He's just kind of like, he's a little giddy in this episode without being forthcoming.
Right. Yeah. He's happy. He's a happy fella because his grandson. His grandson is technically in line for the throne.
He's like, F yeah.
Yeah.
I got it worked out right now.
Yeah. So he definitely is that. His grandson's in line for the throne, technically, even though Rhaenyra's in front of him. And he's there, and he's kind of pushing, he's working his way to push that to happen ultimately. So that scene ends with the king being very upset that Rhaenyra is not at this kind of meet and greet type deal that they're at. Mm-hmm. And Alicent goes to find Rhaenyra. She finds her in the Godswood, sitting on the tree there, the tree with the carving. It's not a weirwood in King's Landing. It's a white oak, I believe, is what they said it is. So she's there with a minstrel of some kind, having him sing the song. I believe it's the song of Nymeria. I think that's the song he's singing, because he's saying about like she loved her people and that kind of stuff. So I think it's Nymeria.
It's a little joke about that.
Yeah. It's a Witcher joke.
Tis.
Jaskier.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's not Jaskier. Not as good as that. But so Alicent shows up and is like, "Hey, your father wants you there," and Rhaenyra is, of course, is that like an order of the king, or is it like a request? And she's like, well, it's an order, but it's also a request. So she says, okay, I'm gonna go. But they have this little fight. Mm-hmm. Over, like, the princess says you keep playing minstrel, and the queen's like, the queen says you're stopping. So they're kind of throwing their weight around.
There's a little bit of bit of the start of a little butting of heads between friends.
Yeah, it's clearly taken place over the previous 3 years too.
Yeah. But you're starting to see it here.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. But
most definitely.
I love how Otto's just like.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it.
So Rhaenyra does get up.
Love him in,
this
whole series, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
Rhys Ifans is fantastic in everything. So Rhaenyra does get up and go, and then we move on to the next scene, which is essentially them traveling to the hunt, which is in the Kingswood, which is not that far from King's Landing. That's where Bobby B died. That's where Robert Baratheon died, hunting on a hunt.
Yeah.
So they're traveling and they're talking in the wagon, and it's just, it's not much to this scene. It's just a little like world building of Rhaenyra's attitude towards her father and her her now stepmother, ex-best friend.
Yeah.
So, and that scene kind of comes and goes. I didn't really have much else to say about that scene. There's not much
No,
there.
I mean, a lot of parallels with Game of Thrones, of course.
Yeah.
They confronted the beast.
Yeah.
And they killed the beast, which Baratheon, I guess, was too drunk to do at the time.
Yeah.
When he got killed.
Yeah. So yeah,
it comes. There's a lot of
So we get to
that
the hunt. You're kind of you're in the hunt.
Oh, I thought you were
phase.
talking about the hunt.
No, I was talking about the travel to the hunt. God,
the travel
jumping ahead.
I'm so sorry.
So they get to the hunt, and we have the party at the hunt before we even get to the actual hunt.
Right.
Where, it's kind of everybody coming up to Viserys, and Viserys drinking more and more, because everybody's coming up to give their own advice to Viserys about what he should do about his heir, and that Rhaenyra should marry someone. And you get your first introduction to a Lannister here.
Yes.
You meet Jason Lannister, who comes up to Rhaenyra and is like, "Oh, hey, I'm Lannister, and all this blah blah blah. I'm awesome. I have a lot of gold." And it's like, he proposes to her right there, and she's like, "Oh, she's pissed about this. She is not happy about it. She thinks her father's trying to sell her off."
Very reminiscent of Jaime.
Yeah.
Same attitude. Same.
He's got that attitude for sure.
Yeah, he's just the same guy. Recognizable actor. He's been in a ton.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm terrible with actors.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
But you've seen him in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Just watch it.
Yeah. And after that, Rhaenyra goes to her father, makes a big scene about, you're trying to marry me off and all this stuff. And so then even more people start coming up to Viserys and being like, Otto, I think it's the first one that we really see. He's like, well, she needs to be married. It's what you do. And blah, blah, blah. He just, the king gets mad at him. And, Otto's like, okay, I'll stop. Otto knows when to stop. He backs off and stops. And
I think at this point, Otto knows he has his fucking talents in the guy that he needs to, kind of sway him where he needs to go.
Right.
So, and Viserys obviously is like, all right, I'm tired.
And starts just...
I don't care.
Here's an impression of Viserys.
Yeah.
And for those of you on the podcast, I was drinking out of my goblet. Viserys is basically constantly drinking now.
Yeah.
But then, Strong, the Master of Laws, Strong, who he went through, Jason Strong. I think I think his name is Jason.
Is it
too.
Strong? Okay.
It's Strong. That's Strong. I think the other guy is a Baratheon, obviously, but
okay.
that's Jason Strong, is the Master of Laws. Comes up to him, and he's like, "Oh, great, another person coming to give me advice." And he's like, "Oh, I guess you think I should, marry Rhaenyra to your strong, battle-ready son." He's like, "Well, sir, you do me the honor of saying that, but honestly," and this guy, I like this guy. I think he's sharp. He's smart because he was the one that also said that Lena would be a best marriage for him too.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy.
Good advice.
He tells him that, it's Lenore or whatever. It's Corlys Valerian's son.
Oh,
who is like a couple years older than Rhaenyra, I think, because I think he was a couple years older than his sister. Should be the match, and that would be a good match. It brings Corlys back into the fold. And honestly, this is probably something that should have been done when he chose Alicent. He should have just promised Rhaenyra to appease Corlys, and none of this issue with Corlys would have happened, to be honest. And Viserys is like done hearing all this stuff, but you kind of see like this look of like, it's a pretty good idea actually,
Yeah.
But he also knows Rhaenyra is wild. Rhaenyra is basically your Arya in this series. She's strong and not going to be held down ultimately. So Viserys,
she
sees some acknowledgement.
She's got her own path that she's going to take.
And honestly, this idea is
honestly, I don't think she really cares about the throne.
She probably doesn't.
They're showing that in this. She's put in that position, but I don't think she really cares about it.
No, she doesn't.
So-
She okay. The way I see it,
Damon shows that he kind of cares about it
yeah,
because he wants to keep that line fresh.
yeah. Well,
Ish.
the way I see it is she does and she doesn't. She wants to be able to decide things for herself, which the throne would give her.
Yeah.
But she also isn't like she doesn't want power, really.
No.
She wants to be her own person.
But she wants to be that person that's like, no, screw this order.
Yeah.
I want to set this order.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, I don't want that power.
Yeah, and that's almost like it's kind of
Yeah.
like Arya and Daenerys to an extent.
100%.
I mean, she's very much like that. It's like
Yeah,
Daenerys let the power get to her head,
She does not.
and which may happen.
She does not want that power. Which I feel like that's how her dad feels right now.
Yeah.
I feel Viserys is like if we took the crown, and we're like, oh, this is great. Oh, I got to make all these decisions. Oh God, Jesus.
It's funny because the only two.
I don't want to do all this. Come on.
It's funny because the two biggest kings that we've seen at the start of both shows don't really like being king.
Yeah.
Bobby Baratheon liked being king, but only the fun parts of it. He didn't want to
Exactly.
do the other stuff.
And Viserys, he's a good king. He's got his stuff together, but when it comes down to the hard decisions, he can't do that.
Right.
And and it's taking a toll on him right now because there's a lot of family issues, of course, coming into play, and he's just like, I'm tired. I'm done.
Yeah.
Don't care anymore. And we're only episode 3, and I think that's where I'm getting it. So
Yeah. Yeah. He's definitely looking tired.
Yeah.
He's looking extremely hammered in this episode as well.
Yeah.
And I think the next scene is Rhaenyra running off into the woods. I think I might have that scene may have come before.
This is where I stepped over. Sorry.
It's okay. I think this is where you were earlier. I can't remember if the scene of her running off into the woods is I think it's intercut in between the scene of her yelling at her dad and then her dad talking to the other guys, because I think she runs off after she talks to her dad, after she talks to Viserys, she runs off to the woods. Kristen Cole chases after her because he's her Kingsguard,
Yes.
basically. He's
Yeah.
essentially her Kingsguard, and I guess he's taken over that job.
That's that point. Yeah.
He chases after her into the woods and catches up to her, and he understands where she is. He's a younger guy too. He's older than her. He's probably like 10 years older than her, but he's younger, and he kind of understands where she's at, that she doesn't want to go back. So he kind of agrees to just walk through the woods with her and converse with her, and you can see there's a lot of chemistry between these two. Honestly, there really is. And he's like he owes her a lot because she chose him for the Kingsguard. Like he's like, my name is really nothing. I don't have any lands or titles until you wrote my name in the White Book. And the White Book, if you remember Game of Thrones, is where the names of the Kingsguard go into, is in the White Book. So he's like, and that honor you bestowed upon me.
Yeah. And at this point, I need to take care of you,
Yeah.
or I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
He
line's
has to
done.
do his job.
My family's done. Yeah.
That's his claim.
Yeah.
At this point is being Kingsguard. So they talk, and I think we kind of at that point, I think that's where we jump back to the scene we already talked about, where Strong talks to Viserys and Otto talks to Viserys. So back to this, they camp out. They're way off in the woods. Ultimately, you figure out they're a long freaking way out there in the Kingswood. We come back to the scene, and there's a sound in the woods, and Kristen hears it, and a boar, Crispin Glover,
Teddy Crispin.
That's right. So a boar runs out of the woods, knocks Kristen over, and attacks Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra's holding it off, which honestly would be impossible.
Yeah,
Those things
God.
are freaking amazingly strong and everything. But
anyway,
she's holding it off.
pretty good.
Kristen stabs it through its head. It's still alive, and Rhaenyra just goes like a psycho on it and just like stabbing it with her dagger. So as they kill it,
Which kind of brings up, did Baratheon's men really care about him that much?
yeah, Yeah,
to where they want to kill.
That's how Baratheon died, because
he died that
boar
way.
attacked him and
you know,
gored him.
he had one of the best warriors of all time surrounding him.
Yep.
But you know, I think they might have allowed him
Jamie.
to die. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that ends that scene. We jump back. I believe the next scene is back to King Viserys, and they've captured a stag in the woods, and they've got it all tied up.
Yeah.
Like they've lassoed it or something, got it all tied up
Yeah.
for the king to kill, which is embarrassingly silly.
yeah. Oh, it's so bad.
It's like he just has to go up and stab it, and there's a guy there telling him exactly where to stab it. It's like, is this not embarrassing to you? I mean,
But again, I think there's factors there where
Yeah.
you can't really. He doesn't have his strength to do what he needs to do.
And like you even notice, like two of his fingers,
Yeah.
are
Two
in bad
of his
shape. They're
fingers-
maybe even half gone. Yeah,
Two fingers
They're
are gone.
Yeah, they're like that.
Yeah. So last episode we had, you know, this one getting
Yeah.
bandaged. Now it's at
And they
this
did the
point.
maggots. Remember,
Yeah.
they did the maggots where
So-
they ate the dead skin. So
You know, and you know the hair kind of receding.
yeah, he's definitely got some stress
He's-
going on.
Yeah.
Rhaenyra stress. His brother.
He's got a lot of issues
Yeah,
right now.
he certainly does.
And to, you know, stab a big animal like that, it's a big reindeer.
Big stag. And yeah, we were kind of talking about it, like we had the boar and the stag in the
Yeah.
stuff. The stag's dead, the boar's dead.
Baratheon house.
It's very much. I think it's very much going to
A
like
lot of that.
look. Hey, look at this. This is calling back to Game of Thrones.
Here's a little
you know?
foreshadowing to Game
Yeah.
of Thrones. Of course it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It definitely was. So let's see. The next scene, I guess they're back in King's Landing, and I believe this is the scene. I'm having trouble remembering. I didn't write them down tonight. I should have. But I believe this is a scene where they're in the council room and they're talking about possibly ending up helping in the Stepstones, and Viserys does ultimately finally decide to send help, and he calls a man in to send a note to his brother Daemon in the Stepstones that he's going to send 10 ships and 2,000 men is what we find out. So he sends a guy off, and the guy leaves to go, and I think that's all.
That
there
was
is.
the end.
Well, no, Rhaenyra and him talked too
Yeah.
in this scene, and he tells her, like he. Ultimately he made, the decision to make her heir, and he is not questioning that now. He's going to keep that. That's what it's going to be. He's not going to change that.
Which he has a son now.
Yeah, he has a son and another child on the
And-
way. And we don't know what that is.
A child or
Maybe two. She's huge.
yeah.
Yeah, she's huge. But
Only find out.
yeah, so
Episodes to come.
yeah, so he sends this guy off, talks to Rhaenyra about that. And then we get a scene.
This is good mead.
We also get another scene. Oh, I think the scene with Alicent might have been before that scene, too. Because remember, there's a scene in his room with Alicent where Alicent's talking to him.
Yeah.
And I can't remember
Still
what
trying to yeah.
Yeah,
Still
they were
trying
talking
to
about
build
the
that.
airship. Because Otto talked to Alicent and kind of convinced her to go kind of push
Again.
the airship
Yeah.
the airship
Yeah.
again. I can't remember if that was before or after this scene.
Freaking
So she's
Otto.
talking to him, but she's doing it typically how she would, in a very, submissive fashion. She's not pushing the issue. She's just kind of doing what she does. I don't think she even does it on purpose, but she's kind of influencing him at this point to try to get him to change it, because that's what her dad's telling her to do.
Yeah.
And, it is what it is.
She's part of her dad's deal.
Yeah.
He's a snake.
Yeah. And I'm sure I'm missing some scenes.
She's a baby snake too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it goes to Corlys.
Yep, it goes to the meeting about the fight in the Stepstones, and this is before they know that the king is sending help.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Corlys, his son, Laenor, I think is his name. Maybe I'm not great with this names thing, and apparently Corlys's brother. At the table, and they're talking about what they can do. They're moving pieces around a board and how they can do it.
Dragon. Dragon Rider.
Yeah.
way.
Leonor
son,
is
yeah.
going to be a dragon rider. We didn't know that in this scene. He is definitely a dragon
Yeah.
rider, though, because he is Valyrian. They're pure Valyrian blood.
Yeah, you saw it at
Yeah.
the end, the
Yeah.
very end.
You're gonna get that for sure. But in this scene, they're talking on what to do, and the uncle, Corlys's brother, is not a big fan of Daemon. He seems to be saying that Daemon is hampering their fight. And Daemon lands, and Lenore is like, "Oh no, Daemon is the only reason we're still in this fight." So Lenore is clearly all in with Daemon, and so is Corlys. Corlys is in with Daemon as well.
Yeah.
And Corlys says, "Hey, I won't see a mutiny.
Yeah.
In
Chill
my,
out.
in my company,
Yeah.
especially not from my brother or something like
Yeah,
that."
we got this going on.
Yeah.
Chill out.
So here comes Daemon in on Caraxes landing, and I didn't notice, but Caraxes is like a really long and skinny dragon. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He's very long, very skinny, and just red. He's very red. He's the red worm.
Yeah.
That's what they call him. So that makes sense.
He wore a lot of red and
Yeah.
black at
Oh,
the
yeah.
beginning. That's for things to come.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, for
That's
sure. So Caraxes lands. Daemon jumps off, comes down to the table. When he gets there, that's when the men from King's Landing come in and hand him a note. The guy hands him a note and said, "This is a message from the king, your brother." And he reads the note and starts beating the hell out of this guy.
Don't kill the messenger.
Yeah, exactly. Don't kill the messenger. Good call.
He beats the living crap out of
with
this
his
guy.
helmet.
Yeah,
Like, he's beating him with his
Takes
helmet.
it
The guy,
off.
guy's wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
But, it's like he clearly beats the crap out of this guy. And I don't quite understand it. I guess he's like, I've been doing this war. I'm not going to have my brother it come out well and my brother get the credit for this.
exactly.
Yeah,
that's
that's what
100% how it came out.
Yeah.
Because if you want to keep going into
Yeah.
the scene,
Oh yeah.
he takes it upon himself.
Yeah. It was the exact plan that they were talking about too.
And it's that Jon Snow type of
Yeah.
battle. He goes out there and he faces the whole freaking army
Yeah.
basically on his own.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah. So that's like the next scene.
The Battle of the Bastards. And
Yeah.
he's the one. He goes out there. He's like, "All right, let's go, MFers." He's like, "If you guys are either with me, or
Yeah.
I'm going to take on this whole army by myself." So
I think it was the plan.
Yeah.
I think because that's the plan they were
100%.
discussing. That's the plan they were discussing. They were
100%.
saying who can be bait to call them out of their caves.
Yeah.
Because that's where he goes, and you don't see it as the plan. I think we're supposed to see it as like, oh man, is Daemon going to like join the crab feeder and like get him to attack with him?
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's not what happens. So Daemon he goes to the crab feeder all alone. He does. Caraxes is not even with him.
they all come in. Yeah.
He picks up a white flag off the ground, plants it, and the crab feeder comes out, and they send out some people out to him. He holds up Dark Sister, his ancient sword that belonged to Visenya, the one of the conquerors, Aegon's sister wife, and so they come out to see if he's for real.
Yeah.
And at first it seems like he is. They take Dark Sister, and immediately he goes into badass mode, essentially, and starts just like killing everybody.
Yeah.
Like with
nuts.
a dagger, grabs Dark Sister, starts
You want to
killing
go
people.
nuts? Let's go nuts.
That's right. That's right. Little Keaton
man.
in there.
Oh, I
so
loved it.
He starts killing everybody, and he slowly gets overwhelmed with arrows.
Yeah.
He gets hit twice, like 2 times, like once in the shoulder, once in like the lower area of his abdomen. He breaks those off, and all of them are coming. We think, oh my God, Daemon's going to die. Of course, he's got some plot armor if you know the story going forward. But all of a sudden,
Matt Damon can't die.
The crab feeder comes out, and all of a sudden we realize that this was their plan the whole time.
Yeah.
This was what they wanted to do. They wanted to get all of them distracted on Daemon, including the people with arrows, so the rest of the army could approach. Corlys's brother come out with all their men and just start attacking everybody, taking them like by surprise, attacking everybody and just taking them down.
His son's riding.
And then here comes the dragon, and you assume it's going to be Caraxes. You assume it's Caraxes coming to save Daemon, and it's the only reason Daemon saved. He would have died.
Oh yeah,
if the dragon wouldn't have interfered.
He had to go up under the one of the ships
It's
to
it's
avoid
Laenor.
battle.
Yeah, it's Laenor. It's Corlys' son riding his. I think it's purplish colored. Either a gray or a purplish color. I couldn't tell. And I don't know the name of the dragon. I'm sure somebody out there does.
There's 10, 15 dragons
There's
right now.
10 dragon riders. There's more dragons than that, but I don't want to go into spoilers too much of all the dragons because there's
a lot.
There's some really cool dragons in this story, and I don't want to get into all that.
To be honest,
it'll be in this season most likely. Or
for
next
me,
season.
I mean, I think the dragons are just. Let's put the dragons to the side. I like everything that's like.
Yeah.
One-on-one.
It's the intrigue.
Oh,
the political intrigue is what sells this show.
The chess playing, the
Game of Thrones.
Weird. I do like how, like the Otto Hightowers, the the little people that are trying to weasel their way in.
Oh yeah.
To get to that point, and like Viserys, I feel like he kind of connects with me to where I would be like, if I was Viserys and if I was in his position as king, I wouldn't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
Viserys is like being a fantasy football commissioner in the worst league ever. And having to put up with all these terrible teams and making that league work with terrible rules involved.
Yeah. With everybody thinking they know what's best.
With everybody's like, hey, we should change this. We should change this. And it's like, no, pay your dues. Let's keep this thing going how it should be and how it has been going for 10 years.
Yeah.
And F off.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, chilling in Canada. Welcome to the stream, man.
Yes.
Thanks for coming back.
Hey, if you want to join a fantasy league, we'll start one. We'll call it Hot D. Hot D.
Yeah.
So it'll be heavy defense.
That's good. Also, Viserys is a kind of a weak leader at times too, though. So it's like the league is probably bad because of him too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this whole scene's awesome. Laenor coming in on his dragon is amazing, taking out all the. It's a set piece.
I thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah, no, it's good.
It's fantasy football season right now. Yeah. So
we open with a fantastic dragon scene. We ended with a fantastic dragon scene, and in between is all the political intrigue that we're really here to see the show for. So at the end of this episode, Daemon, after the dragon comes in and kind of frees him, he gets up, he sees the crab feeder go back into the cave, he gets up, goes in the cave, and just, we don't see the fight, but it's apparently not much of a fight, because he comes back out of the cave dragging the torso of the crab feeder and one arm. The guy's just super dead, clearly super dead. So he has essentially ended that war at that point. The plan worked. I think it was Laenor's plan ultimately. I think he was the brains behind that plan, which I like the guy. The guy playing him was really good in this episode. So Laenor seems like a kind of a force to be reckoned with, and that's who was recognized who Jason Strong said that Rhaenyra should marry. And this seems like a pretty good choice there. I mean, cousins, but whatever. It's Targaryens.
It's gonna make Daemon look great. It's gonna make Corlys look great.
Happy. Yeah.
It's gonna make his kids look great.
Yeah.
Who's got more dragons than the other is where it comes down to.
Yeah, and it was nice to see somebody else on a dragon because we don't see that all that often.
Yeah.
So
it was very quick too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, some nice dragon scenes in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, House of the Dragon, great. You got to have dragons, but I like the fantasy football trade and drops part of it.
He's going to continue this.
I am.
He is.
We're gonna keep going on because this is football season.
Fantasy dragon draft.
Yep. And I mean, who would you put? In your, if you drafted them from college, and you had two guys that you would play. I'm sorry, I'm kidding, but seriously.
The Fantasy House of the Dragon draft takes place next week on stream. Tune in on. No, I'm kidding. So,
no, we're not.
If you want to see us debate the order of what we rank things, you can look into our Star Wars debate on how we ordered the mainline Star Wars movies, including Solo and Rogue One.
Yeah.
So, really
once all this is done with, Game of Thrones, I'm gonna get. The wife is intrigued too. She wants to watch it, but I can't wait to see how, we put Game of Thrones with this after it's done with somebody that doesn't know anything about it. Yeah. So, sorry.
Yeah.
Jumped off.
It's okay.
Jumped off a little bit.
So that was the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch the next on, so I don't even know what's coming up on the next on episode because I ran to the bathroom, obviously, after that. So, excellent episode yet again. Except for the beginning and a little slower episode than the past two probably have been, but it's still an exciting episode. It's like you said, it's what Game of Thrones does best.
Yeah.
Is that political intrigue type stuff. The family drama, the political intrigue, that kind of stuff is kind of the go-to. It's its strength, and that's kind of where it lost itself. Like Game of Thrones lost itself in the past last 3 seasons because it got kind of away from that stuff. So
they kind of got into the they went to Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, the last part of Return of the King,
the 37 endings.
Yeah, the 37 endings where they were just like go, let's get it over with. That's how it went with that, and they forgot all the political intrigue.
Yeah,
and they and when they did put that in there, the intrigue was not. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
it was kind of like watching The Gray Man.
Yeah. Which people shouldn't do. I think I rated that one right in the middling kind of a rating. But yeah, so that's House of the Dragon for this week. Kind of a shorter podcast than we've done for this one. It's about 37 minutes right now, and that's actually pretty short for this podcast.
Yeah,
I think it's probably because I didn't write everything down for every scene. I'm sure I missed some scenes, and I'm sorry if I did.
No, but I think there's a lot more going on with what's to come with that battle.
Yeah.
And Corlys and Daemon that you think. So, stay tuned.
I wonder what the time jump for next episode is going to be. We're at 3 years on this episode.
172 years.
Yeah, it's back to the game. It's just going to be Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's
Game of Thrones first episode.
Daenerys is going to be like, let's go.
Just open it up with Robert Baratheon. That's right. Or no, Jon Arryn dead. That's what it was.
Jon Arryn gets killed.
No, I'm wrong again. The opening scene of Game of Thrones was the scene with Royce in the woods in the north and them dying to a White Walker. That was the opening scene.
Nice.
Of Game of Thrones. That's our next scene, right?
Yes. Bring back young Eddard.
That's right. Give me old young Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can he work that out between Lord of the Rings and?
Yes. All right.
Either way.
So
thanks for joining us, guys.
Yep. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time on Basement Movie Room. And